Hi there. First, I'd like to thank Gertrude Matchey, the founder of the global women's movement named Her Story, for inviting me to join you all here. I am so honored to be here with you. I feel so blessed to be able to share a tiny part of my story with you in hopes that you can soar a little higher than before. My name is Janice Wright. I currently live in Las Vegas, but I am a native of San Diego. And my students, they call me Miss J. I used to count myself as an average human being. Well, sort of. I mean, I've been through the average things that occur to humans. Okay, women humans. Losing my virginity at a young age. Okay, I said losing, but I meant throwing it away under peer pressure, only to be betrayed within 1 hour. Having an abortion at 15 because I was told I had a choice. Pregnant again 1 year later at 16 and placed my daughter up for adoption because my mother begged me to make a different choice. I can tell you later sometime the beautiful story how my daughter calls me mom now and started when she was 19. Suffered with my family as my sister was sentenced to and served 28 years of her life in prison the same year I was pregnant because my sister thought she had a choice. Oddly enough, tomorrow, August 2nd of 2020, will be the 40th anniversary of the day she was arrested, a day I will never forget. I married at 23 years old to someone who had already crossed over every line I swore I would never tolerate because I didn't think I had any more chances to make a choice. I birthed 3 of his kids that I adore, and they became collateral damage of the violent marriage and divorce. It turns out somewhere way back in my teens I should have gone through a lot of counseling, but nope, didn't know I had a choice. Besides, it was my life. I knew what was best for me. I had a successful job, good friends, and everyone was alive. No one was speaking into my life, and it showed. After my second marriage imploded, surprise, surprise, I completely lost it. I moved back to my hometown. I thought dating was the answer. Wrong again. Dating just made me feel emptier than I was before I started. I did a lot of things with people I shouldn't have even known, and I eventually, emotionally, crashed. It's pretty average, right? Okay, maybe not. I laugh now, but I wasn't then. I started going to a support group, then I started a support group, and I even told my story on national TV. Well, let me tell you, there is nothing like thinking you are being Pollyanna, gonna save the world, and then the show comes on the air and they make you look like a complete idiot. You get shamed by people you didn't know, thousands of comments, almost 700,000 views of the video that's been taken down, thank God. But then your friends, and the worst, your family. Then you get fired because of it. Of course, they can't say I got fired because of it, because of the show, but I did. So now what? I've literally lost everything and gained a lot of shame. Well, that was all part one. And I think in everyone's life, there's a defining moment where there's a shift from part one to part two. It could be divorce, it could be becoming a parent, it could be graduating from university, or losing your career. Regardless if it was good or really rough, or maybe you're there right now, I challenge you to consider being open to the change that is possible. So by this time when I lost my job, my kids were grown and adulting. I was single, thank God, and I had no idea what was next. I'd made a lot of choices during part one. Not many of them were growth-minded. They were, right now, survival-type choices. Well, right now, today, it's been 9 years since what I call the crash. But what happened that got me to where I am now? Well, right now, I'm working from home in everything I'm doing. I'm a licensed life insurance agent, part-time. I work full-time for a hospitality company. But my heart belongs to my pet project, Miss J's Leadership Academy. I've been running it for the last 5 years or so for kids to learn about, you guessed it, making choices. And since I can't go in schools now, we're busy converting it to an online platform that families can participate in together. And I just can't wait for it to be live. I'm so excited. I've learned that bringing the whole family into the training together, you can begin to change the vocabulary of the house, which shifts the whole family into growth mode. This is what the launching of part two looks like for me. How did this all come about? Well, You have to give yourself permission to soar. SOAR. So once everything had been taken away, I had to stop for the first time in my life and surrender to the universe, God, whatever you want to call it. I call it God. For every battle I was in, every choice I had made had led me to right where I was. No one else got to be responsible for my choices. Admitting to myself that I was responsible for 100% of where I was at that very moment was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. I was literally on the floor, ugly crying, the snot slinging crying. I felt like someone had peeled my skin off my body and every single nerve was exposed. When I looked in the mirror, I didn't even know who I was anymore. I'm sure that I cried for about a week solid, if not longer. Probably the most humbling time in my life. So S in SOAR stands for surrender. Since I lost my job, I was searching for work, which was fruitless for weeks. I was not gaining any traction at all. I was doing everything I knew how to do. And then I remembered that all that striving in the past, that whole survival mode mentality, really didn't work that great in the past. I was going to need some next level thinking. But from where? Now, I'm sure none of you can relate to this at all, so I'm going to be completely vulnerable with you like I haven't already. It turns out I had a lot of self-development books and CDs that I had acquired over the years that I had never listened to or read. I know I'm the only one that this happened to, or had this experience, but years later I remember thinking, were my friends and family really trying to tell me something? I think they were. What I did know was that I needed to make myself available for opportunities. I wasn't working, so I had a lot of time on my hands. If someone needed a ride somewhere, I was there. If a friend was going to go out and do ministry work, I was there. If I got invited to a potluck, I was definitely there. It was free food. And during those 3 months, unbelievable things happened. I made new friends. I did a lot more self-care before I even knew what self-care was. I learned a lot of new skills. I volunteered a lot, which we all know teaches you things about yourself that you didn't know before. I turned to my church and support groups, and I finally went to counseling. For the first time in my life, I was given permission to really grieve what I had been through. Well, what I had put myself through. I was given tools to move forward. I had such an awakening as to what I was not. I became aware that I was destined for so much more than I ever imagined. So the O in SOAR is opportunity. After some amazing encounters, which I'm writing about in my book, Lost and Found, I ended up moving to this teeny tiny little town named Roma in South Texas. Population 10,000, about 5 pictures on Google, literally sight unseen. I sold off everything I owned besides what I could fit in my pickup truck, and my dog, Ozzy, and I were off. One gringa, all the rest Hispanic. It was amazing. I went there on a discovery journey, and during my time there, I had a lot of time to truly discover who I am, what I was created for, and who I wanted to be when I grew up. So A is for adventure. After my first year in Roma, I moved closer to the Gulf of Mexico and the more metropolis communities. I met an amazing friend who introduced me to leadership development, self-growth learning, public speaking, teaching, mentoring, coaching, etc. When that light switch was turned on in my brain, like everything clicked for me. I began to learn what kind of choices were available to make. Going through a maturity process in my late 40s was not easy, and it was not pretty. The hardest part was learning to eat humble pie all along the way. Every time I had an epiphany to share or told a piece of my story, it was humiliating at first. Then it became healing, and then it began to help others heal. After digesting the training I was getting, I decided to become a certified leadership trainer and coach with the John Maxwell Group. And since then, I've had the amazing opportunity to speak into so many lives, adults and students. Working with the groups that I do, I learn so much myself as I celebrate being the mentor for them that I never had or knew that I needed. Like I mentioned before, now that schools are closed, I'm creating a complete online opportunity to duplicate what we had in the live classroom. So R is reveal your revolution. For you, that could look like changing careers, volunteering somewhere that makes you cry, starting a new hobby, or getting serious about your health. My transition came in stages. You can't eat the whole elephant all at one time. It takes one bite at a time, but you got to take that bite. My question for you is, are you building a life that will be a legacy for your family, or are you stuck? I'm guessing that many of you here understand self-growth because you are here. I also went to many conferences, met some great people when there were actually people all in the same room. I collected a bunch of business cards that I never called. Then I'd get in my car, went right back to making dinner, doing laundry at midnight, getting up early, headed to work where I was not appreciated, went home at the end of the day only to start all over again. It was like a hamster wheel, and I was going nowhere fast. I didn't change anything. Everything I'd heard made me smile, feel good, and then I forgot about it after a few days. I never bought into the fact that I deserved to live large. So I was stuck playing small. So S, stop and surrender. O, open up to new opportunities. A, become available for adventures. And R, reveal your revolution. Here's my challenge to you. Be excellent. And in excellence, stay weird. Be your imperfectly perfect self. Be intentional. Stay focused and be deliberate. Don't let the shiny objects distract you from living a life where your kids will say amazing things about you when you're gone. Be awesome. Make great choices and be the light. Make people smile. And then become a great team. Learn to plan, communicate, negotiate. Learn to find your tribe. Life is not to be lived alone, so stop thinking you can. I'm building online workshops that will include live Zoom top calls, one-on-one coachings, and soon I will have the family program up on my website for a small monthly subscription fee of $47 a month for the whole family. It's the greatest deal ever. We'll be meeting once a week, live Zoom calls, etc. You can reach out to me at my email. It's themissjlv@gmail.com. It's the, T-H-E, Miss, M-I-S-S, J for Miss J, LV for Las Vegas at gmail.com. So themissjlv@gmail.com. Let's hook up. Let's come find me. And you can find me on Facebook too. Miss J apostrophe S, Miss J's Leadership Academy. And let's get together. Let's grow together. We can visit and talk. There's there's a lot to catch up on. I'll answer any of your questions. And I'm so looking forward to meeting you. I hope that you'll trust me and we can have your family together, learning and growing together. It's amazing the change that will happen when everybody's talking the same language. It's just a beautiful thing. So I thank you for listening. I thank you for your time and attention. God bless you all and have a great day. Thank you.